Okay, let's dive into this. Today we're unpacking one of the most clever and honestly cruelest schemes in all of American literature, straight from Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn. We're going to break down how two professional liars try to steal a family's fortune and see how a young boy gets caught right in the middle of it all.
So you look at this picture, and at first glance, it seems like a really touching moment, right? You've got long-lost relatives embracing, tears of joy. But what if I told you it's all a performance? The men being hugged are complete phonies, and they're about to rob these poor people of everything they own. So how on earth did we get here?
Well, every great con starts with an opportunity. And for our two villains, who call themselves the King and the Duke, that opportunity comes from a total stranger they just happened to meet by the side of the river.
So who are these guys? The King and the Duke are not your average travelers, not by a long shot. They're constantly on the move, living by their wits, and their whole deal is going from town to town, tricking people to get money. So when they run into this unsuspecting young man, their minds immediately start racing. They don't see a person, they see a payday. And that's exactly what a con artist is. These guys are masters of deception. You know, they lie as easily as they breathe, and they are always looking for their next victim. They can pretend to be anyone, a duke, a king, even a pirate trying to turn his life around, if it means getting people to open up their wallets. So, what's their method? It's actually pretty simple. They start pumping this young guy for information, asking him a ton of questions. See, for a con artist, information is gold. They learn he knows this family, the Wilkes. He tells them all about Peter Wilkes, who just died, and his two brothers from England, Harvey and William, who, get this, no one in town has ever actually met. And just like that, ding, a light bulb goes off. The King and the Duke now have a new identity. They decide they're going to become Harvey and William Wilkes.
With their story all figured out and their roles rehearsed, the King and the Duke finally arrive in the Wilkes' hometown. It is officially showtime.
The second they step off that boat, the King launches into this huge performance. He's wailing and sobbing, throwing his arms around total strangers, pretending to be absolutely heartbroken over the death of a man he's never even heard of until a few hours ago. It's so over the top it's almost ridiculous. But the townspeople, they eat it up. They fall for it completely. And the three orphan nieces, Mary Jane, Susan, and Joanna, they're just overjoyed. You have to remember, they just lost their guardian, they're feeling vulnerable, and they desperately want some family. So they welcome these two frauds with open arms, completely convinced. They lead them right to the coffin, and that's when the two con men put on an even bigger show of fake sadness.
But someone isn't buying it. Huck is watching this whole disgusting scene play out, and it makes him feel sick to his stomach. He knows the King and the Duke are liars. He sees the town's sympathy and the girl's happiness, but all he can see is the greed and cruelty behind it all. And this puts Huck in a really terrible spot. He's the only one who knows the truth.
This performance isn't just for show, of course. The King and the Duke are after something very, very specific: the family inheritance.
Turns out Peter Wilkes was a pretty well-off guy. The King, pretending to be his brother Harvey, reads the will out loud for everyone to hear. There's a lot at stake: a small fortune in cash, plus the family home, the farm, the whole shebang. And you better believe the King and Duke have their eyes on all of it. They find the cash hidden in the cellar, $6,000. Now you gotta remember, in the 1840s, that is a massive amount of money. For the King and the Duke, who usually live hand to mouth, this is the biggest score of their entire lives. The prize is right there, literally in their hands. Now here's where the con gets really clever. Instead of just grabbing the money and making a run for it, the King pulls a brilliant move. In front of the entire town, he hands the whole bag of gold to the nieces, saying it's all theirs. He makes himself look like the most generous man in the world, and with that one act, he pretty much erases any tiny bit of doubt anyone might have had.
Just when it seems like the con is a total success, one person speaks up. Dr. Robinson, a close friend of the family, isn't fooled for a single second.
The doctor storms in and confronts the King head-on. He calls him a fraud, a liar, and a terrible actor. He even points out that the King's English accent is just laughably fake. He is begging the nieces to see the truth and kick these guys out.
And this right here is the heart of the conflict. On one side, you have the doctor, who's all about facts and logic. He sees a fraud. But on the other side is Mary Jane, the eldest niece. She's operating on pure emotion and hope.
For her, the proof isn't about an accent. It's about that big bag of gold her uncle just handed her. She chooses to believe the comforting lie over the harsh truth.
And this is the truly devastating part. The doctor's warning totally backfires. To prove her trust and loyalty, Mary Jane hands the $6,000 right back to the king, asking him to invest it for them. She has unknowingly sealed her family's fate and handed everything over to these crooks.
With the money secured and the town completely fooled, the only person left struggling with the truth is our guy, Huckleberry Finn.
I mean, can you imagine Huck's dilemma? He's seen how kind Mary Jane and her sisters are, and he absolutely despises what the king and duke are doing to them. But what can he do? He's just a kid, and these are dangerous, desperate men. If he exposes them, who knows what they might do to him?
And this, right here, this is a major turning point for Huck's character. He's not just some bystander anymore. He feels a real moral responsibility. These aren't just strangers. They're kind people who have treated him well, and his conscience just won't let him stand by and watch them get ruined. He knows he has to do something.
But before Huck can figure out a plan, things move fast. The king and duke get what they came for, sell off the rest of the family's property, and collect all the money. They make a quick getaway, grabbing Huck and forcing him back onto the raft, leaving the Wilkes family with absolutely nothing. The con, for now, is complete.
And that leaves us right here. Huck is floating down the river with 2 criminals and a stolen inheritance. He's the only one who can make things right, but doing that would put him in incredible danger. So, what would you do? Would you risk everything to return the money, or would you just stay quiet to save yourself? That's the impossible choice Huckleberry Finn has to make.